911. What is your emergency? The dispatcher asked. There is a dangerous setup on the ranch directly across from me, a woman hissed. I believe they are holding poisonous chemicals, and it's leaking into our water supply. That woman was Vanessa, and she was at the border of my 12-acre ranch, jabbing her finger at the steel water tank I'd put in, days before I was 40 T away, tightening bolts on my windmill's pump, unaware of her call. Then red and blue lights flickered across the tank surface. I turned, grumbling. What the hell? A deputy emerged from his cruiser hand close to his holster. Another moved. We've got a report of chemical waste on your property, sir. My jaw fell. You're kidding, right? Vanessa strode toward me, arms crossed, exuding HOA president smugness. He's storing hazardous materials in that tank, she snapped. My daughter has asthma. What if she breathes something poisonous? I blinked, then strode toward the deputy, calm but assertive. You may want to verify that tank's permits or my qualifications, he browed. And you are, I drew a badge from my vest. James Harlan, state-certified water inspector. That tank contains emergency portable water, certified by the Department of Environmental Resources. Guess who signed the certification, me? Silence. Vanessa's face went pale white. Then an officer looked up. Ma'am, is this the same tank you were prodding with a pole 20 minutes ago? And that's when her house of cards began to fall apart. This war didn't begin with a 911 cowlet, began months before with a phony smile and a basket of HOA propaganda. I'm James Harlan, 56, retired after 30 years as a regional water inspector, now proprietor of Harlan Ranch in Pine Hollow. A rough piece of ground just beyond town, I'd spent decades making sure wells, pipelines, and storage systems complied with state code in 4 counties. I never thought I'd put that skill to work in defending my own place. When I purchased the ranch, it was a disaster, sagging fences, a clogged well, overgrown fields, but it was mine, an escape from red tape. I repaired the barn, placed a 6,000-gallon water tank for irrigation, and planted a small orchard I kept to myself, troubling no one. Then Vanessa, president of the Pinehurst HOA, a gated community of cookie-cutter mansions across the way to me. It was a soulless sprawl of pseudo-lawns and trivial regulations. Vanessa arrived 2 weeks after I moved in. Rolling up in a sleek black SUV, heels sinking into the dirt. Welcome to the neighborhood, she trilled, handing me a basket of candles and an HOA brochure. I'm Vanessa Reed, Pinehurst president. I arched an eyebrow. Thanks, but I'm not in your HOA. Her smile firmed up. Well, you're part of the larger community. Voluntarily joining may increase property values. I laughed. I'll pass. That was the last time she played nice. After that, Vanessa made my rancher fetish. She'd drive by taking pictures, making like she was checking her phone. Trouble flared when I put up the water tank. State-approved black steel, hidden behind the barn. To Vanessa, it was a supervillain lair. 3 days after it went up, I caught her skulking near my fence, camera in hand. Need something, I referred to. She winced just examining that thing. It looks suspicious. It's a water reservoir, I said flatly. She smiled. For what's a lot for one man? Irrigation, I said, nodding at my saplings. It's legal, certified, and none of your business. Her eyes narrowed. People are saying you're collecting wastewater. That's against the law. I moved closer. I've checked 1,000 tanks. Vanessa, this one's cleaner than your HOA's fountain. Back off. She stormed away, heels stabbing the earth. I should have known she'd overreact. Word got around to my ranching neighbors, Tom, who raised goats, and MS Ellen, who grew pecans. They alerted me. Vanessa was spreading rumors, alleging my tank was a toxic threat. Tom stopped by with whiskey one evening. She's made a complaint with the county gym. Keep an eye on her. I shrugged. Let her try. My permits are ironclad, but I didn't think she'd simulate a chemical crisis back to that day when I had my badge. Vanessa stood behind the deputy, smirking. You can't hide this forever, she grumbled. I glared her down. You just made the stupidest move of your HOA. My radio crackled. James, it's Director Patel's sheriff's office called about a 911 report. You good? I responded. Vanessa Reed alleged I'm storing chemicals, counties here. Now Patel swore document everything, get her on video. I turned to the deputy. I'm taping from now on, just so you know. He nodded. Vanessa blushed. Why tape me? Because playing with a state-controlled tank has fines and jail time. I told him. Her smirk disappeared. Then the officer dropped the bombshell, Mr. Harlan. The lid of the tank is ajar. I stood paralyzed. Ajar. He pointed at a wet stick nearby. Looks like someone tampered with it? I glared at Vanessa. She backed off, stammering. I was just checking for leaks for the kids. You opened a state-monitored tank, I said. That's a federal offense. The deputy's radio confirmed my credentials and the tank status. He turned to Vanessa. Ma'am, you filed a false 911 report. She gasped. It was a mistake. You'll need to explain that at the station. He said. She shrieked. I'm not under arrest, not yet, he replied, but you're coming with us, as they led her to the cruiser. She venom in her eyes. This isn't over, James. I run this HOA. My lawyers will destroy you. I smiled, and that hurt her more than anything. I wasn't born a fighter. Brought up Montana's peaceful valleys. I learned to breathe. Stay calm. Work hard and let loud mouths reveal their own frailties. But Pine Hollow pushed me. My ranch was my sanctuary. Clean well, mountain views, rows of peach trees across the road, Pinterest plastic perfection, ridiculed it all with regulations on mailbox paint and banned garden gnome. Vanessa just kept prodding after our initial confrontation, griping about my wood stove. Smoke, my loud tractor, even my windmill's shadow. But the tank was her obsession. She insisted that it seeped chemicals into the creek, despite the fact that it was 200 yards from any water. I put up cameras for nighttime cloud link, catching her scaling my fence, poking at the tank with a pole, muttering, "This will teach him to disobey me." That video was gold. After the deputies left with Vanessa, I called Patel. She tampered with my tank. He laughed. She's a legend in HOA complaint logs. Once called a sprinkler, a biohazard, pressed charges. Not yet, I said, let her seethe that evening. Stars covered the valley, but peace felt tenuous. Then I discovered it, a scrolled note taped to my gate. You humiliated her. The HOA is coming for you. We have allies. My pulse quickened. This wasn't just Van. It was a cabal. I checked the cameras, 3:12 a.m. A hooded figure, a Pioneer Crest sticker on their car. I reported the note and video to Sheriff's Deputy Lucas, who increased patrols. She's desperate. He said, keep your wits about at the co-op shopping. A tank lock. Emma's Ellen took me aside. Vanessa is reporting you threatened her. Jim alleges your tanks in a legally operated farm destroying the valley. I laughed. She's wielding my own water codes against me. Ellen smiled. She's got friends marked Lot 5 Hoboard. They're searching for zoning offenses. I chuckled. They made the wrong man. I sought a critical infrastructure designation, making my tank untouchable, and sent a Candace to the HOA telling them to stop trespassing and lying. But they struck back code. Enforcement arrived. A young boy named Ethan in a county vest received a complaint about runoff from your tank. He said I let into it, sealed pristine. Vanessa, I inquired. He smirked. She reported a menacing shrub last year. Your permits are bulletproof. He made a false complaint strike against Pinterest. That evening, cameras recorded a figure slashing my trailer's tires and spray painting. HOA rules on my barn. I glared at the footage, rage building. This was vandalism, harassment, war. I emailed all contacts in the Department of Environmental Quality, asking for a complete audit of Pinterest. Hours later, Chief Inspector Carla Vega responded, audit team sent ethics board called the sheriff connected the paint to an earlier HOA incident Vanessa's hired teens. 3 days later, state auditors inundate my ranch. Then Pioneer Crest. They discovered a lawful runoff from the HOA's ponds over PED sprinklers and fabricated complaints. Mark called an emergency meeting and the board voted 7-1 to suspend Vanessa. She raged, calling it a coup. But her rule was in disrepair. Then a black SUV pulled up a suit. Victor Hayes of Pinnacle Development, Pinterest backer, made a proposal to purchase my ranch. Double market price. Make the HOA melodrama disappear. He said. I laughed. This isn't about money. It's about principle. He left a card that evening. I photographed pine crests, runoff, slimy streams, hidden hoses, dead grass. My inspector status prompted a 14-day compliance directive. Mark Sweating brought an HOA apology and settlement offer. Drop the complaints, and we'll leave you alone. I leaned in to testify against Vanessa or no deal. He nodded, ashamed. Then at midnight, 3 figures with flashlights crept along my fence. Pinnacle surveyors scoping my land. I flooded them with lights, trespassers, sheriffs coming. They bolted, but a jacket read, Pinnacle Surveys. I filed a trespass report. The Pine Hollow Gazette broke the story, HOA tyranny or land grab. It went viral. Vanessa disappeared, Pinnacle doubled their bid. I turned them down. The ethics committee prohibited Vanessa from HOA positions for 10 years, but the last letter came typed, "No, Cinder, you've won this battle, but the valley's ours. We're not finished." I folded it knowing this was greater than Vanessa. Pinnacle desired the valley, and my ranch held the key. I phoned Sarah Clean, an investigative journalist. We walked the property, photographing everything. Her exposé the ranch that halted the takeover, ignited a firestorm. Protesters picketed Pinecrest when Pinnacle began bulldozing oak trees protected. I phoned the Wildlife Bureau, stopping them for breaking a 1998 law. A drive-by shot shattered my mailbox. Cameras filmed a Pinnacle surveyor, he was charged, and the state investigated Pinnacle's activities. I submitted to have Harlan Ranch declared a historical site. Weeks later it passed untouchable forever. Vanessa escaped Pinnacle, pulled out, and a plaque now stands on my barn. Harlan Ranch 1947 heritage site at a town hall. I taught others to resist. Back a young couple thanked me pie in hand. "You saved the valley," they said. "I'm James Harlan, rancher, inspector, defender." They thought a spurious emergency would shatter me. They forgot this land resists back, and so do